Hello everybody, a Kinder Surprise is probably the most desirable sweet for any children that you can buy in the supermarket. Although I don't think that any adults would turn it down either. So let's open up the Kinder. In fact, it's just an egg made with chocolate. Rather, of two types, milk and white. And inside it has a yellow capsule that you can find a toy in when you open it. Maybe it just seems like it to me, but these toys were much more interesting in my childhood. Over the past 6 months, I've been thinking in detail about how to make a giant Kinder Surprise so that it turns out to be perfect, just like a factory-made one. And finally, I came up with it. Please give this video your likes in advance, and now let's start. Have you ever wondered how chocolate was made? There are whole plantations where cocoa fruits are grown. We bought 4 of these ripe fruits. They are very large and cumbersome. We break it into 2 parts, and we see the white seeds inside. These are ripe cocoa beans, but to turn them into chocolate, they need to be processed for a long time. We transfer them to a wooden barrel, and cover them with saran wrap. The beans will be in this barrel for 7 days and fermented. Well, it's time to retrieve them. Excellent. Our cocoa beans have been fermented and smell pleasantly like vinegar. We take a dryer like this and put all our beans in it. We set it to 40 degrees and turn it on. That way they continue drying for another 7 days. A week has passed and the cocoa beans are dehydrated. But to make a giant Kinder, this is definitely not enough. So I bought some more dry cocoa beans. They look exactly like ours. These beans are raw, so we go outside and pour 2 bags of beans into the cauldron. We still need to chop wood. Let's open the stove and put some crumpled paper and small firewood into it. Kindle the fire. When it is flared up, we begin to mix the cocoa beans. That way they fry more evenly. After about 10 minutes of roasting, they begin to smell very tasty. Therefore, about 5 more minutes and you can check. The husks should easily come off the roasted cocoa beans. We remove them from the fire. The roasting stage has been passed. Now we take another bowl. We remove the shell from each cocoa bean. We break the core and transfer to the second bowl. We get these kind of cocoa nibs. We use this as the main raw material for making milk chocolate. We also bought a box like this. We open it, and inside we see a lot of cocoa butter. It looks and feels like an all-in-one laundry soap. So that it can be quickly melted later, we set it up with a knife. This is a very sticky process. Two hours later, we got a whole basin of finely crushed cocoa butter. In order to properly make chocolate, you need a machine called a mélanger. In fact, this is an electric mill with such stone millstones. We grind cocoa nibs, milk powder, sugar, and cocoa butter into it. We collect 1 kilogram of cocoa nibs and pour it into the mélanger. A full glass of powdered milk, a glass of sugar, and turn it on. All the ingredients are mixed and gradually ground into a more delicate powder. Add some cocoa butter. It will gradually warm up from friction and the mass will become. And now it just takes time. The grains will become smaller and smaller. In the meantime, let's turn on another machine called Marmite. It will heat the chocolate so that it remains a liquid. Fill it with water up to the maximum. We set it on 2 and turn it on. 2 hours have passed. The chocolate has become even thinner. To make it taste familiar to us, we add vanilla extract. And in factory chocolate, a powder called soy lecithin is used. We need to add quite a lot of it. It is completely harmless, and it is only made to use to make the chocolate more liquidy. The chocolate has been 3 hours in the Melanger. We turn it off, and we pour it into the gastric capacity. The first portion of natural milk chocolate is ready. We put the tray into the Marmite so that the chocolate doesn't freeze. Now we load the next batch. This time, for the Melanger to grind the cocoa nibs faster, we pour it in gradually. Then gradually pour in cocoa butter. When the mass has become a liquid, gradually it's sugar, milk powder, and other additives. We wait another 2.5 hours and pour the chocolate into our tray. And for the third time, we add more powdered milk and 4 hours of stirring. It turned out very nice, perfectly glossy milk chocolate. We also transfuse it. It took us 2 days to fill the tray to the brim. We mix all of these things together, and we're done. The next stage is tempering. You may ask, why is this necessary? I'll show you an example of 2 tiles. We filled one with melted chocolate, and the second with tempered. After solidification, we take them out. And the one that is just melted melts very quickly, remaining in your hands. But the tempered chocolate is glossy. To it, cocoa butter crystals are combined into a strong crystal lattice. Therefore, when you break it, there's a crunch. In order to temper a large volume of chocolate, we increase the heating. And constantly stirring, we heat the chocolate to 45 degrees. We get the tray out, and let's go outside. We put it onto a cold tile. Constantly stirring, literally in 15 minutes the chocolate should cool down to exactly 25 degrees. That's it, we return the chocolate back to the heat and heat it up to 31 degrees. This is the end of tempering. We will pour chocolate into such large egg halves. I ordered these forms 6 months ago at a factory in America, and now they have arrived. These forms cost 20,000 hryvnias, or 54,000 rubles. So we open the alcohol, pour it into the mold, and rub it around with a napkin. So that way it'll be perfectly clean and the chocolate will shine. Done. Now we send the forms to the freezer for 1 hour. They should be cool completely. Now that the molds are icy, we scoop up the chocolate, pour it into the mold, and distribute evenly. The chocolate seizes instantly. Fill it as evenly as possible so that there are even walls of the same thickness everywhere. We drain the excess chocolate back in. One more time, we put it into the freezer. And we fill in the forms again. And one more go around. The forms are always very heavy and you can't twist them in your hands, therefore we pour the chocolate along the walls and smear it around with a spatula. That way we filled up all the milk chocolate. But there is also a white one in Kinder, so let's do that. We need cocoa butter, milk powder, sugar, and soy lecithin, and of course a Melanger. We collect a full measuring cup of cocoa butter. We turn on the melanger and begin to pour in very gradually. There is literally a third of a teaspoon of soy lecithin. We collect 700 grams of sugar and gradually pour it in. Well, we've got a full measuring cup of powdered milk. And now it just takes time. Grains of powdered milk and sugar will decrease and interfere with the butter. The correct consistency will be happening in 2 hours later. Pour our homemade white chocolate into the Marmite. We cooked white chocolate for 15 hours. And we also temper it. And we also pour that into the mold the same way. It's smeared around with a spatula. We poured white chocolate in one very long approach. While you were smearing one form, the second one has time to freeze, so you can change them around like that. Now the chocolate egg halves are ready. Let's make an integral part of the Kinder Surprise, namely the yellow capsule. To do this, we bought a plastic barrel for 20 liters. We bend the fastenings for the handle and remove them. The barrel is shaped like a capsule, but not in color. Therefore, we unscrew it from the lid and take it to a safe place for painting. Shake the cans with spray paint and cover the barrel with yellow. We completely painted it in 3 approaches. Now we've got a big yellow capsule like that. In my opinion, it kind of looks like the original. What kind of gift will we put inside? I thought everything out in advance and I bought a big Bluetooth speaker on the internet. We open it up and put it inside, as well as wires and instructions. That's it, you can close it. We put our surprise in one of the Kinder halves. We take out the second one. Perfect. At first, we just melted the edge of the chocolate with a burner and tried to install the second half of the egg on top. But they did not dock, and there were very large gaps. Therefore, we take out the other half. With a knife, we cut off the uneven edge. And try it again. This way it worked out more or less pretty smooth. And to glue these 2 halves together, we pass the white chocolate along the joint. Now our Kinder is ready. But what kind of Kinder would it be without colorful packaging? To make that, we take the molds again and line the foil on top of them, gluing each layer with double-sided tape. Next, you need acrylic paints, rollers, brushes, and pencils. First, you need to make a red and white background. And then we apply multicolored inscriptions. In my opinion, it turned out really nice. So we put the lower part of the wrapper on the floor, carefully lower our Kinder into it, and together with the foil, we lift it back up. We put the other half of the package on top. We connect the planes and fix it with a stapler. Hello everybody, I think that many people have tried this kind of ice cream Snickers. Today we will cook it, only a giant size. But first, let's study the original. Therefore we open it up. From the outside, it looks just like a chocolate bar. Let's look inside. So the first layer is milk chocolate, then a layer of peanuts with caramel, and the last layer is ice cream with cocoa and peanut butter. Let's taste it. Yeah, this is an awesome combination, you guys. Let's start cooking the ice cream. Milk powder is often used in factories, so we're gonna do the same. We collect it, measure out the right amount on the scales. We need 3.5 kilograms. Pour the powdered milk into the first basin, and another 3.5 kilograms into the second. Here's also a little bit of cocoa, so that the color of the ice cream is as in the original. You'll also need some sugar. It also needs to be measured out on the scales. You should get 4.5 kilograms. Pour it all into the first basin. Then measure out the same amount of sugar and pour into the second. But now you will need a lot of water, 70 liters. To make it easier to mix, first pour half of the water out. And just combine the dry powders with water with a stick until you get kind of a cold cocoa. And repeat the same with the second basin. When everything is stirred really well, pour in the remaining water. In order to increase the fat content of the mixture, add some 33% cream. Now we need some xanthan and guar gum. They will make the mixture much thicker to get a good ice cream. We measure out 115 grams of each powder. Mix them together, and gradually pour into the mixture. At the same time, mix with the mixer. These powders need to be mixed very carefully so that there are no lumps. And if everything is done correctly, the mass begins to thicken. The first batch is ready. Let's move on to the second. We'll pour in the xanthan and guar gum. "20 minutes of stirring and our mass has become thick. It's time to put the ice cream in the freezer. We'll leave them here for the whole day. On the third day, we will need a lot of peanuts. Here is 50 kilograms. Our peanuts are peeled, but raw. So we'll fry them up. We pour almost a full cauldron. And turn on the gas. Now it needs to be constantly stirred so that the peanuts are fried evenly. After 30 minutes of roasting, it begins to smell really tasty. Like some beans, there's a lot of this here. Therefore, the first batch of peanuts is definitely ready. Pour it into a saucepan. Done. And now we'll fill the cauldron with the next batch of raw peanuts and fry them too. So that way we do all 50 kilograms. The composition of the ice cream includes peanut butter, therefore we put the fried peanuts into a mellanger. The stone millstones gradually grind the peanuts, and because of the oil released, the mass becomes moist. So we add more. The mellanger will grind the peanuts for 2 hours, after which the peanut butter is obtained. And to make it sweet, add some corn syrup. And pour the perfectly smooth peanut butter into a bowl. In total, we made 3 batches. Now our bowl is completely filled. We go to our ice cream, and we see that for the whole day, it has barely even set. Pour half of the peanut butter into each basin. And mix it into the ice cream with a large mixer. By the way, this will also interfere with the air bubbles so that the ice cream will turn out way more lush. Now we'll leave it to freeze. Meanwhile, we prepare a mold for the giant Snickers ice cream bar. The inner walls are lubed with oil and immediately smeared. Now our parchment sheet will perfectly stick to the walls, and the number of folds will be minimal. Smooth out the parchment, lift up the wall, and fix the parchment with tape. Our first wall is ready. Do the same thing to the rest of the walls. We put some plywood and a food film, and also install the walls. And close the mold. Done. It's time to melt the first batch of milk chocolate, meaning 10 kilograms. Stir periodically so that the chocolate melts evenly. And an hour later, everything's ready. We remove the gastro capacity and pour all the chocolate on the bottom of the mold. Don't forget to scrape the remains from the walls. There's at least 1 kilogram of chocolate there. And spread the chocolate on the bottom of the wide spatula. The next day, our chocolate is set, and our ice cream has too. So you need to mix it one last time to still mix up the air bubbles for splendor. Done. While the form is still empty and light, we transfer to the freezer. We scoop up the ice cream and transfer it into the mold. Carefully level out the ice cream layer and close the freezer. For the caramel, pour 8 liters of milk into a saucepan in advance and put it on the stove to heat up at a low heat. Now you need to squeeze out 7.5 kilograms of corn syrup into a large saucepan. We set the pan on the burner and put 30 kilograms of sugar on to sleep. Pour 4 liters of water on top and mix so that all the sugar gets wet. Done. You can turn on the burner and cover the pan. Use a lid for this, so it can heat up faster. When the caramel boils, we remove the lid and install a thermometer. Cook the caramel to 144 degrees. Now, you will need a lot of butter. So open them up. This block is 5 kilograms and we need 4,200. Therefore, we cut off the excess and cut the rest into large cubes. And throw it into the caramel. Now this oil needs to be mixed with caramel. Now you just need to pour in 8 liters of hot milk. And mix that with the caramel as well. At this point, the caramel's ready. Pour half of it into another saucepan. And cover all the roasted peanuts. Mix all this with a stick until the caramel envelops the peanuts. Done. We go to the freezer and just put this mass into the mold with our hands. We emptied out the first pan, so we bring in the second one and continue to fill in the mold with caramel. Carefully level up the caramel. And leave it to finally freeze overnight. The next day, we're going to take out our mold, and we open it up. We don't need the wooden walls anymore, so we remove them. And close the mold again. Pour some milk chocolate into the Marmite. And melt it. But this time we need a lot more fluid chocolate. Therefore, pour a glass of oil and mix. Now the chocolate is how you need it. Pour this in. First of all, fill the cavities that appeared after we removed the wooden walls. Melt another portion of chocolate. And pour it right on top. Smear this all over the surface. And wait for solidification so it can be opened. This giant Snickers ice cream is ready. In fact, it's one of the heaviest bars we've ever made. Its weight is as much as 200 kilograms, and it took 5 days to prepare it. Let's cut it open and look inside. It turned out really similar to the original. I tried everything together, caramel, nuts, ice cream, and chocolate, and I can say that it tastes very close to the original. Of course, we didn't eat this huge ice cream ourselves, so we gave it to the Mother and Children's Home. The children loved it so much. If you put a lot of likes under this video, then we will definitely cook something else that is very big. And subscribe to the channel, you guys. Bye, everybody.